Welcome, and thank you for listening in. This is Dan Alcorn, and today's conversation is part of a series where I discuss common topics, frequently asked questions, if you will, about all things Medicare. Our guests today are Signe and Bob Foxworth, calling in from Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you, Signe, Bob, both for joining.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, you're welcome.
Bob, Signe, you have an interesting story to share about seeking medical care outside of your hometown. Start us off with some background about what your health plan was and what you were going through and how we got involved in talking about Medicare. Just give us a little background.
Yes, we had worked with an agent to get a new health care plan that included everything that we wanted. It turned out it was an HMO, and I knew what an HMO was, that you have to use the physicians that are in that network. However, I didn't think it would have any bearing. And then I learned that I had prostate cancer. And we started looking for the best treatment plan that we could get. The Advantage plan, the HMO type of the Advantage plan, had a provision that, of course, that I can't go out of network. I contacted the company, and they said, no problem, we have an HMO. In fact, I think I told them we have an HMO of the exact same makeup in the area where you want to go for treatment. No problem. So I did what they told me, referred to a case number, called the number they gave me, and I ended up talking with a surrogate. They had quite a different spin on it, said I would not be allowed unless there was a medical necessity. My primary care physician lined up with them saying there was no medical necessity for me to go out of network. They never defined or would come up with what medical necessity turned out to be, other than to say you can get the same treatment here in our HMO. Well, it's called brachytherapy. It's a radiation treatment with a seed implant, and the company, the organization that I wanted to have my treatment with, was the only one we could find, at least Signe found, that had any database of results.
So you had a Medicare Advantage plan, but it was an HMO, and there was a network of providers in your region, in your area of Greensboro, North Carolina. Your HMO had treatment available to you, if not exactly the kind that you were looking for, that was outside of your geography and outside of the network. And then you ran into what's called a gatekeeper, somebody who was going to get you approval for that, and you ran into some bureaucratic challenges, shall we say?
Well, I'll say it was more than bureaucratic to deny me the opportunity, and I'll say the reason I know this was because, well, two things. Number one, the gatekeeper told me that my appeal had been denied, told me that I was not even entered into the computer, so it could not have been denied. But I asked his assistance because the company told me if I had my primary care physician interceding for me, I would have a better chance of getting what I needed or what I wanted.
And so, meanwhile, while this is happening, you've just been diagnosed with, a very serious condition. Did that give you some sense of anxiety, I suspect?
Well, yes, it wasn't as bad as I might have expected, but it was pretty much ambient anxiety all the time, and I'm fighting this insurance company. I'm also talking with the provider I want, getting some input. In fact, the former president of the company, who had retired, wrote a letter for me to my primary care provider that detailed why having their treatment was superior.
So you're fighting with this HMO, this health maintenance organization, to get care that's been recommended for you, but you're having some difficulty. And we all know who the technical wizard is in your home. Signe, tell us a little bit about how you got frustrated with this whole process and went online and where that all led to.
As I recall, it was tremendous anxiety at the time because not being able to get the treatment sooner rather than later could have had fatal consequences. We wanted the treatment as soon as possible, and his chances would be the best. And we had more anxiety fighting the insurance company than we did about his illness, because he had a very good chance of doing very well with the right kind of treatment. When we were kind of at our wits' end, because he was being completely stonewalled about going out of network, even though where he wanted to go was a similar HMO Advantage plan, exactly like the one, identical to the one here in North Carolina.
Signe, you went online and you went and put out some sort of a public appeal about this challenge you were having with the HMO. Tell us a little bit about what you did and how that worked out. What
I did was, without saying exactly who it was who had this dilemma, we know someone who needs a treatment out of his network and his insurance company won't allow it, and causing us frustration. Does anyone know what can be done about this? And you, Mr. Alcorn, responded, and actually a couple of other people responded, and they were basically going in the same direction you were, about going back to Medicare, but they were not as helpful because they were not as specific. And once we talked to you, he was able to change his insurance to Medicare Supplement, and that is the greatest way to go right now. I mean, it also has affected my life, because I followed suit, and I really am so happy.
So you moved from a Medicare Advantage HMO plan to a Medicare Supplement plan alongside an alternate plan to receive your prescription drug medications. Do you recall which Medicare Supplement plan you enrolled in? I mean, they're alphabet plans,
United Healthcare.
Plan N.
Plan N, yes.
Okay, so the United Healthcare, which is endorsed by AARP, Medicare Supplement Plan N. And so that one doesn't cover 100%. You probably do have some deductible or copay amounts that you were responsible for, correct?
But very reasonable. As the first $183 of treatment during the year is out of pocket. And all office visits, which it can be a maximum of $20, are out of pocket. And I was advised that until I got a sufficient number of office visits during a month, there was no need to pay for having no copay, which I could have opted to do, but I, thank goodness, haven't had 5 or 6 office visits yet per month.
So the Plan N, the Medicare Supplement Plan N, does state that you're responsible for what's called the Part B deductible. As you pointed out, this year it's $183, alongside an office visit copay of $20. And you're right. If you have 4, 5, 6 office visits a month, you may want to look at Plan F. And so the premium for that, I suspect, the premium for your Plan F was quite a bit higher than what you were paying for the Medicare Advantage HMO, correct?
I'm sure that would have been. Actually, we chose Plan N, and it was higher because all we were doing was giving up our Part B dollars to the Advantage plan. And
Medicare Advantage plans do have their place. They clearly are. The monthly premiums are much lower than Medicare Supplement plans. They often include a prescription drug plan, however, do come alongside with networks and higher coinsurance and copay. And for hundreds of my clients, it works quite well, with the understanding that in circumstances such as you encountered, it makes sense to move over to what's called Original Medicare, with a nationwide network of providers who accept Original Medicare, and backfill or supplement that which Medicare doesn't cover or doesn't pay with a supplement plan. The Original Medicare is primary, and your $183 annual deductible, and that is all taken into account. Once Medicare makes a determination as to whether your procedure was valid under Medicare rules, Medicare pays its share, and then the supplement picks up that portion which is not covered by Medicare, typically about 20%. And in your case, let's say it was a $1,000 bill, just hypothetically, Medicare pays 80%. The 20% that Medicare doesn't pay, that $200, is your responsibility. Then your supplement plan kicks in, and of course, as you've noted, you have a $20 copay after you've met that deductible. Now, when you and I have known each other for years, and when Signe put out the call on social media, we spoke and discussed your situation and agreed that a Medicare supplement with a standalone drug plan would work best for you. I, at the time, was not licensed in North Carolina. I am, however, licensed in multiple states throughout the U.S., but given the timing and the urgency of your care, we opted to not wait around on my bureaucratic paperwork, but rather put you in touch with a local agent to get that care for you right away. How has that worked out for you? The care that you were seeking out of town, you had that care provided, and what was your out of pocket?
Well, actually, my chief financial officer could correct me if I'm wrong, but I said I got upwards of $20,000 worth of treatment for $20. The $20 was an office visit that I don't remember making, but I thought it made a better story to just go ahead and pay the $20, and you kind of rang nicely with $20,000 worth of treatment for $20.
So you've had $20,000 worth of treatment, and you can't quite remember if or how much you had to pay out of pocket. So does that sound about right?
No, I'm saying
we paid $20.
We paid $20 for that office visit. We probably could have contested that and ended up paying nothing, but it made a much better story. I go ahead and pay the $20 and say we got $20,000. It's upwards. It wasn't exactly $20,000, but for all the people that were urologists and radiologists and all that were included in all this was upwards of $20,000 worth of treatment.
So we paid $20. Had we somehow been able to do the Advantage plan, the HMO, we would have had bills over $5,000 to pay. We would have had to just
$5,500 was our portion of whatever major expense.
So the Medicare Advantage plans do have what's called an annual out-of-pocket maximum, and you were looking at least an exposure or an exposure capped at $5,000 or $6,000, and instead you chose to pay a higher premium to go with the Medicare Supplement Plan N. Granted, you paid higher premiums, but your co-pays and out-of-pocket were dramatically reduced, and your peace of mind, I suspect, was absolutely.
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say, in this whole thing, the most precious thing is that peace of mind, knowing that you are covered. Yes, you strain a little on your monthly budget, but things happen unexpectedly, and you are covered, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I'm paying $149 in addition to the Part B that I give up, so whatever that amounts, I never see anyway. And Signe's paying $107 for Plan N, just like mine. I'm wondering why there's such a big difference, but anyhow.
Well, in some states, the Medicare supplement plans are, the premiums are based on different variables. I'm in New York State, where we have community ratings, so regardless of age, gender, or health condition, the premium for a plan N is identical. It could be different in North. Bob, Signe, before we close, do you have any parting advice to folks like yourself around the country who are facing similar challenges getting pre-approval from their Medicare Advantage HMO?
What I would do is, if an option presented itself again, I would definitely go with original Medicare and a supplement.
So, Bob, Signe, thank you both very much for your candid comments, your participation. This has been really very helpful to other Medicare beneficiaries who are wrestling with whether to use Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement. Your story is one that I share a lot, and again, this day I thank you so very much for participating. Good health to you both, and thank you again.
Dan, before you hang up, may I make one unsolicited testimonial? I want to tell you, the people that call in and listen to this podcast, I'll say go with Dan. He's got the plan.
Thank you for this opportunity, Dan.
You were the best. Thank you both very much. Have a great day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.